Welcome to Talking Hoosier Baseball for February 7th, 2022. I am Carl James. We got the opportunity yesterday to sit down with head coach Jeff Mercer to preview the upcoming season that starts February 18th at Clemson.
Of your three assistants last season, only one is still with you, and he's in a new role. How would you describe how the off-season transition's gone?
I've been really pleased with it. It's gone really well, and I feel like obviously anytime you have new people in the program, you have an opportunity to have a lot of growth in an area where you get to learn from new guys, and so they're going to bring their experiences in, and you get to fold those in with what is successful in the past, and then bring in their experiences and allow yourself to really grow. So you get to have really exciting conversations because you get to learn from somebody else's mistakes and successes in the past and add those into your program. So the guys that are new into the program have a great track record, but also great personalities, and they've really resonated well with the kids and with the other coaches here. But they also have a wealth of knowledge and background, and that's always very exciting to be able to pick their brain and add those and allow your process to improve as much as it can from there.
So how is competition going for your corner infield positions?
That's a great question. I look at both of those spots, and it is exciting competition. Obviously, Kip being back from last year, Kip did a really good job as a freshman. But you look at the growth of some of the freshmen. You look at Brock Tibbetts in the corner positions on both of them, as well as catching for Brock. But Josh Pine has done a really, really good job. Max Johnson is very talented, has done a good job. Evan Goforth has been very good. Jake Skrine brings a veteran presence into that group as well. So I do like where we're at with those guys, and it's exciting to have some young guys in that group that are talented and are going to be able to really add. Anytime you have young players, there's an excitement and a youthfulness that you do like as well, because they're just so thrilled to be out there, and there is so much teaching that goes into it. But you just get excited for the growth that's possible for those guys. So it's been really good and very, very competitive. Some of those young guys have really improved in the last several weeks, and they're going to give you a chance to. Are actually going to make it hard on me to write the lineup at the end of this thing, but it's been really good.
There's a lot of buzz this season around Morgan Colopy and his potential as a power bat. Mm-hmm. Who else looks to have serious potential to provide extra base hits for this team?
Well, I think there's several guys that have some physicality that can change the game with the way that they drive the ball. You look at Matt Ellis coming in. Matt's a really physical guy, 6'4", 245 pounds, and has a ton of bat speed, but also has really his tool is first and foremost as a great hit tool. Like, he has a feel for the barrel, feel for the whole field, can use the whole field, has great zone awareness and plate discipline, good pitch selection, and hits the ball tremendously hard. So you put those together, you have a chance to guy that can do damage offensively. Kip, obviously Kip last year had a couple home runs, but is a really physically gifted kid, a really good mover, and a chance to be an all-around offensive player. You look at Brock Tibbetts. Brock Tibbetts is a big 6'4" physical kid, ton of bat speed. Carter Matheson is a big, really physical kid with a ton of bat speed. Bobby Whalen hits the ball really hard. I'm excited for Bobby's opportunity to get out into play every day. Because he's got a chance to impact the baseball. Josh Pine can really impact the baseball. So there's several guys that can impact the ball in ways that may be a little bit different than last year. But the primary ones, looking at obviously Matt Ellis and Brock Tibbetts, Kip, and a couple of those guys, Carter Matheson. I think those guys are primed to be able to impact the ball in a little bit different way than maybe we had last year.
We know you do not assign official captains, but who are you looking at being leaders on this team?
I think John Modugno has been a very good catalyst from a leadership standpoint, especially on the pitching staff. Having experience coming back in and being able to kind of help guys with their direction. John did a good job. I think Jack Perkins has done a really good job as far as how the pitching staff operates. Coming in, having a little bit different perspective and adding some of his voice to the equation a really smart kid and has an ability to communicate well and works very hard. So that always is a big part of the leadership role. And then you've got several of those guys. Your Reese Sharp is a really good worker and a talented kid and communicates well. Ty Bothwell's done a good job on the pitching staff. So the pitching staff's in a really good place. I'm excited to add David Platt back, being healthy now, and David has a really good voice in the room. And so with the departure of the staff to the draft, it's nice to have some guys that both returning and new guys coming in that have great perspective, and those guys do. From a position player standpoint, and you look at Bobby Whalen as a guy that I think has really stepped forward, and his voice has been heard in the locker room and is well respected. But Matt Ellis is a great leader. Tyler Dones is a tremendous leader. Philip Glasher is a very, very hard worker. And oftentimes, like I always tell guys, it's leadership is created one in what you do and not just what you say, right? Like how we do things, how we go about our work, but also helps when you're a good player, right? If you have a tremendous work ethic and you're a good player, then you have the platform to go and speak your mind. And so we have guys that do work very hard, and I'm very proud of their investment, and they are good players. So you begin to have guys' voices step forward as they have success and as they've earned their way on in their practice arena as well. So I think those guys I look at and say they've done a good job of their work ethic, but then also as their production begins to follow suit. The leadership of this group is an area of strength for us. And that, as a coach, as we all know, was a very exciting evolution of a team when you can say you feel like leadership is a strength, because that usually means that good things will follow. And at a minimum, it's a fun team to be around, right? When you have good leadership and you have hard workers, you show up every day and you're very excited to be around the group, and they're excited to be around each other. And that's what I see with this team.
Your first opponent this season is Clemson. What do you do this early in a season to prep for a team, especially like there's not a lot of film out on them? What do you do to prep for a team like that?
I think the best thing you can do for a team is to continue to address your own deficiencies. And I know that sounds like a non-answer, but Clemson, whoever else we're going to play early is going to be a good team. And the way that they're going to beat you is they're going to beat you with their strengths, and obviously their strengths, but they're going to expose your deficiencies, whatever those are. They're going to be exposed immediately, whether you can't hold the run game or you have a defender that is a completely weak link, pitch recognition, whatever, like the major outlier deficiency that you have. Someone, especially in the South, that you go and play and that has been outside a little bit more than you have, is going to expose those massive deficiencies. So it's not necessarily so much what do they do early on. It's going to be are you really, really poor in one certain area, and you have to clean those things up. And then you're looking at what are their massive strengths. Do they have one or two offensive players that you just can't allow to beat you, right? Going into that knowing. Do they have a pitcher that has a very unique spin profile or a unique pitch, whatever? Do you need to prepare something for that? Do they steal bases? Are they going to run a ton? Are they going to do something like that you try to prepare for outside of just the normal things? And as you get further into the season, you have a history with the club. You're going to play somebody in your conference, and you have years. Then it becomes a much more of a you're trying to prepare a team to beat them in what they do well or not. Right now, it's can we not beat ourselves, and then can we outline a major area of their strength and try to combat that as best we can.
What does your weekend rotation look like?
I would say the rotation really is still up in the air. You look at, I think John Modugno and Jack Perkins have probably stepped forward as weekend guys and are in the conversation to kind of lead the staff in that regard. We're going to play a couple 4-game weekends. I think at least one, maybe two. But you're looking at the third and fourth guy. It really is still very much wide open. Braden Tucker and Brad Bramer and Ryan Kraft, Ty Bothwell. There's Reese Sharp to several of those guys that you would look at in that Sunday role, and then the midweek games you would look at kind of that fourth starter on the weekend or the fourth starter as a midweek guy. would really be your next up. I think we're going to have some competition for our weekend rotation spots throughout the course of the year. And I don't mean that in a bad way, like we're not in a good position, because I do like our staff. I do think we are deep, but I think that there are enough good arms that we really can compete for that third and fourth spot. So using the midweek as a guy that's kind of in the hopper to be a weekend starter, and use those guys to prep themselves for if down the stretch you need to make an adjustment, you can. And maybe even be one of those things that's a little bit week to week. I don't think competition is a bad thing. I think guys knowing that they have to fight and they have to compete for their job on a weekly basis is a good thing. We're all at our best when that's the case, and I think that will be for us too.
Thank you for listening to Talking Hoosier Baseball. For more on Indiana University baseball, hit up iubase.com. See you at the BART.